Radio was founded by an ambitious trio and hardworking employees who wanted to revolutionize TV for history. But by 2023, all their projects were deleted. So, what happened? Our story starts with the ambitious Jack Schultz. Now, Jack grew up in 1980s London, where he enjoyed the best music, films, and wrong country. He grew up in foggy, grungy, terrorist London. But hey, at least everything was cheap and they had some good music. Maybe the two countries weren't different after all. You know what else they had? BBC. There were only three channels on TV, two owned by BBC, which most people didn't really care or didn't really mind. But Jack Schultz was, and he was disappointed in the visual media industry. Fast forward the revolution of the TV industry and release of the iPhone, we are now in the 2010s, an era of technological advance, ETM, K-pop, superhero movies, and political movements. Especially mobile phones started to become the norm. But Jack looked at it and was like, this has more potential. So he teamed up with Timo Arnold and Nick Ludlam and created Avo. Now, Avo is a game where you help a scientist named Billy, played by Katie Reese, with the villain that to steal the machine that made Avo to make fresh fruits for an evil corporation named Superfood Corporation. And the villain is played by Nick Malonsky, who had a role in Doctor Who. And the game blew up. A lot of news articles and tech reviewers praised the game for its revolutionary AR mode. Hell, even Lakeybox and FGTV made a video on the game. That's how you know you made it. And who can blame them? Even though the game is a bit childish and half of it is locked behind a paywall, it's still a very interesting game. So, what do you do when you have a very successful game? Try to replicate it and become a monopoly. So, they built two demos, one named Avo with two exclamation marks, which I couldn't find any infos on, and now one Play makes, which I don't know if it got out of the developer of developing hell, which even feature Avo and you help him by watching episode and playing minigame, etc. Now I don't know if they got released to the public, as there are no videos of them or they aren't even mentioned in the company's Medium page, and they share everything on the Medium page. They then patent the technology that helped them make the game. Remember, that will come in handy very later. They still needed a game where that they can constantly update and make money off of. Around that time, a lot of the studio employees grew addicted to water washing porn. Yeah, and blame Reddit for that name, okay? And Sonic Ludlam built a prototype along that same mechanic, and so Mystery Coast Treasure Hunt was born. Now, this game did well, but not as good as Avo, since there are only three videos on it. This game follows Storm, played by Mara Huff, and her crew, played by Carson Hayes, Devin Henry, and Oliver Lully Jenkins. And all of them have some amazing roles, like what the hell? Who clean a treasure and sell them to customers. This game did start leaning in the pay to win stuff like the gems, ads, and energy, but they need to make money somehow. I don't know. You are also supposedly supposed to uncover Storm's relations with her mother, but since all game videos are only like three and there doesn't exist a lot of info on this game, I couldn't find any info. Now remember the patent they filed back in 2020? Well, a certain company, I don't know if you heard of it, named Apple, noticed this and hired the founders and bought the company, which made them shut off all of their games. I first tried searching for Alvo since it was the most popular. Now, the first IPA was found back in 2024, but it crashed every time someone tried to open it. Then Emil found a half-working version, but it couldn't play episode 2 to 8. So I searched the internet between Google, Bing, Yandex, and even DuckDuckGo, went to the Internet Archive, but only found the two versions. I couldn't really find a lot of things except a few news articles. As a last effort, I went back to the Internet Archive, and there were two new IPAs. How does that happen? So the first was by a person who uploaded the cache from episode 2 to episode 8, but couldn't that make them work because it only worked if someone had already the game on their iCloud. Now, And then there was another, which is literally titled Testing If This Works. I don't know if it works since I don't have an iOS. So if you have an iOS and don't mind side loading and download various, I guess check it out. Then I tried searching for Mystery Coast Treasure Hunt, and I did found a version in a website called Softonic, and they bit again, I don't have an iOS, I couldn't fact check this. And found Playdio Mix on a website called Appear, and also you can request a demo from a website called Topio. So, moral of the story, big corporations are evil, and I need an old iOS to download old IPA games that